Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining me today live from beautiful Ojai, California. And our subject today is about the power of plants, how and why herbal treatments work. This is a very important subject if you're looking for natural cures for your health conditions. Then you're in the right place. And what we're going to cover here is my current understanding after, decades of treating people of common misunderstandings about taking herbs. And of course, I'm well known for treating all a cyst in my pineal gland. I got an infection, a bone infection, or there's herbal remedies for everything. You just don't know them. That's all, because this knowledge has been lost in our current society. Now, all since the beginning of humankind, there has been herbalists. Now, it's taken them thousands and thousands of years to accumulate this knowledge, and all indigenous people in all parts of the world and every continent were trying different plants and trying different experimenting through trial and error. And it really took them thousands of years to accumulate this information of herbalism. So I say personally, as an herbalist, herbal medicine is probably the greatest accomplishment of humankind, because it took us thousands of years to understand and make these formulas. So, plants, spices, herbs, they're all the same thing. Don't separate them out. All the difference is the food we can eat. It tastes good. It's usually got this little sweetness to it. It's not a lot bitter. It's not too pungent. And of course, it's not poisonous. But everything else, besides the food that we tend to cultivate and grow, and we've made it more and more tasty, through breeding or changing the strain of the seeds. I'm losing the words there, but we're growing food for eating. But all the rest of the plants, every single plant, every single leaf, every single bark, every single root has medicinal value. Now, so there's still millions of plants that aren't even probably being used in herbal medicine. So we've even got a long ways to go. I don't know if a long ways, but we do have a lot. Now, of course, there's different herbal systems all over the world. You got South American, and even there are different shamans, using different herbs. They didn't write a lot down. And then we had our North Americans who didn't hardly write anything down. And then we had the Chinese who go back thousands and thousands of years, and they wrote a lot down. So we have a very sophisticated and detailed Chinese medicine system. And then the Indians, maybe the more ancient of all the herbal systems, maybe just because they had more peace and in the South, didn't have war. So they were just able to focus on healthcare instead of warfare. And they have developed a very, very sophisticated, detailed herbal system called Ayurveda. And there, as you can see, the certificates on the back. I'm an Ayurvedic doctor, Ayurvedic pharmacist. So mostly we're talking from the Ayurvedic perspective. Now, first thing you have to learn about herbalism is, and the most common mistake people make, is they try to figure it out themselves. You don't have enough time in your lifetime of 100 years to figure out herbs by yourself. So you could just kiss that idea goodbye. And searching on Google is an entire waste of time. Never look for things like, 10 herbs to help with my high blood pressure, best herbs for blood sugar. This is not the way to learn, first of all. It's a big mistake. Everybody's tried this before they come to me. And even people come up with these false assumptions. Herbs don't work. I tried. I asked what they did, where they got it from. And, now we know why they weren't successful, because they didn't know what they were doing. So you need to follow a system. And a system should be, and a teacher. You need a teacher. If you want to follow Western herbalism, you just go to Dr. Christopher. He's one of the, he passed away, but he's plenty of books, and he made a lot of formulas, this Dr. Christopher. And those people have seen, I have about 40 herbal teas, which I sell on eBay and Etsy and to my clients. You can see a lot of my formulas are highly influenced by Dr. Christopher. A lot. Well, even though I make almost 400 products that I, sell to my patients, and maybe about 50 of them I sell online publicly in eBay and Etsy. But in my other public website, herbmanteas.com, only a small amount of my products are for sale to the public, because the rest really specifically need to be, prescribed, and you just can't pick them. But my point is, all these formulas, all these, that I have, very few of them I made. They're all from somebody else. They're all ancient Ayurvedic formulas, or formulas I learned from a teacher, formulas I learned from another Ayurvedic doctor, and he probably got it from an ancient formula. And then, of course, Western herbalism, I've had some influences there, and somebody looking at my teas can even see who's influencing you. People can look at my Indian herbal formulas and know that I was influenced mostly by Northern India, not by Southern India, just by the style, the use of the herbs, the use of the basmas, a heavy use of churnas, not a lot of oils and rishtas and fermented wine formulas. But so then I'm Northern Indian style herbalist. And so from there, there's, Ayurveda, there's been no big updates to Ayurveda for 800 years. So we're all going back at least 800 years. People send me links all the time about some herb that they've discovered they think is wonderful, and I never look at it, because it doesn't matter what people say online. We'll give you a perfect example. There's so many fads. People think turmeric was a big fad. It's a cure-all. In Ayurveda, we don't use turmeric for inflammation. We use it as a natural antihistamine, and we use it for skin rashes, allergies, respiratory allergies, because it's antihistamine quality. We don't use it for pain. But people think that it's all for pain because they Google it and it says it's anti-inflammatory. Sure, it's anti-inflammatory, but when you've got all these other, it's not what's used traditionally, because you have things that are better, like we call shilaki, which is frankincense powder, boswellia, frankincense, way better than turmeric. I mean, people who have figured this out by themselves, who had pain, they were taking tablespoons of turmeric every day, thinking their joint pain is going to get better. And then they start taking half teaspoons of boswellia powder, and wow, it's more powerful than a couple tablespoons of turmeric. So nobody uses turmeric for pain, and this mix and pepper with it, oh my God, I don't know where people get this stuff. And then, of course, there's been so many fads. You got to stay away from this Instagram, Facebook, type of herbalism. It's a disaster. People are doing completely the wrong things. Nowadays, the biggest fad is mushrooms and coffee and chocolate. Oh my God. If you're having mushrooms drink, I know you're on Instagram, because that's the only place promoting it. People who aren't on Instagram don't know about this mushroom coffee stuff. And, I spent 4 or 5 years in Taiwan studying herbs, and 4 or 5 in Chinese herbs, but 4 or 5 years is nothing. Of course, I was doing other things too, so you can't spend all day doing this. But I spent a lot of time there, and, I still carry probably, 5 to 10 Chinese herbs, 3 or 4 mushrooms, reishi, cordyceps and stuff. But you won't see them in any of my formulas because they're not really Ayurvedic. But, I use them sometimes. I put some reishi in a heart formula, things like that. I use a little dried lion's mane here and there for, MS and multiple sclerosis and some neurological issues. But this whole concept you're seeing now of having cordyceps, reishi, chaga, lion's mane all mixed together with some chocolate and coffee, this is a total fad. This is a joke. In Chinese medicine, sure they use mushrooms, but not in this manner. This is just really terrible, terrible. Nobody's an herbalist here. These are just people going by this new fad that mushrooms are a cure-all. So next big lesson, avoid these cure-all mentalities. Oh, people think, I can take this or, black seed oil or or apricot kernels, and my cancer's going to go away. Well, that's a very dangerous thinking. Not to say that these are not used, I use black cumin seed oil, and it's very powerful, and I do mix it with many cancer formulas, but not all, and not for all people. And the percent is very important. I would never only give that out. It's usually one of, say, 10, 15 herbs. So that's another important point, is that forget single herbs. You're never going to make very much progress with single herbs unless you really kind of know them well. And most people don't know these herbs very well. And you're more precise. Like a single herb, it's more like, what a sniper. If you know exactly what this herb does and you know it's a perfect match for this person, then fine. But, mostly a formula is going to be more powerful. You're not going to have one herb for it's going to cure your cancer. No, that's just kiss that goodbye. It's going to take a formula. And most of these formulas are at least 20 herbs. So you're talking 20, 30 herbs. For example, I had somebody, and she had like leukemia, and I treated her for a few months and it went away. And then she said, "How many herbs did you give me?" I looked at all these. I gave her 4 or 5 formulas. I didn't just give her one formula. So I totaled it up. I said, this formula actually has another formula in it, and that formula has 26 herbs. I had 7 more herbs, so that's about 32 herbs in there. Then I gave you this at night for your colon. I gave you this for your sleep, and I gave you that. I roughed it out. Okay, another 5 herbs, another 7 herbs. So she was about 120 herbs. She was taking every day for 3 months. So there's this one herb is going to cure you is not correct. It could be a good herb. It could be an effective herb, but by itself, it's a pipe dream. So just scratch that off for all health conditions. It doesn't matter if it's high blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, whatever it is. I mean, there's no one herb is ever going to do it. I mean, it could be high blood pressure. Your hawthorn leaf, hawthorn berry, ain't going to hack it. And because the formula is really what an herbalist does. I mean, you go to a restaurant and you don't just order, bananas. You want like a banana cheesecake. You want an ingredient. You want to taste something that's, made by the chef that's good. That's what an herbalist is doing. He knows thousands of herbs. We have hundreds of herbs in our clinic, and these formulas are made from these. And in fact, we use a lot of formulas, already pre-made formulas, because we import herbs from India, and we'll use an imported formula and mix it with other herbs and make another formula. And of course, I'm making custom formulas all the time. Even though I sell 400 products, still I have to make custom formulas. So it's another good important point, is you can't treat everybody with even the same formula. Say, many of my clients has figured this out. I gave them something for their high blood pressure. They gave it to it worked great. It brought them down 20, 30 points. They got off their meds. They gave the same thing to their husband. Didn't work at all. Well, that's because he has a different cause to his high blood pressure. Now, of course, the medical doctor, he's got the easy life. He just gives everybody out the meds. And if the blood pressure's high, just give you another med. If it goes up in 5 years, you just give you another med. It's easy, and you just keep giving them out meds. And of course, the pathology is continuing. You never stop the cause. A lot of times people never stop the cause. Like for high blood pressure, coffee can increase your high blood pressure. Anxiety can increase the high blood pressure. Fatty foods, thick foods, blockage in the arteries can cause high blood pressure. He don't care about it. He just gives you the med. So there's many causes of high blood pressure. So the first treatment should never be the herb. The first treatment is identifying what the persons do to cause it. And I can guarantee you, after thousands and thousands of clients and appointments just constantly 7 days a week, everybody's creating their own health problems. They just don't know it because people aren't educated on it. People don't know nightshades and tomatoes create inflammation, reduce the arteries, and it can increase high blood pressure. And now people know that eating donuts makes you fat, and they're not good. And people know maybe bread makes you fat. But they don't know that they can have millet and buckwheat and amaranth and still have grains. So they don't know that, certain foods can help their health condition. But you have to remember, food is the old saying of Ayurveda, food is medicine. They were talking about plants, not just what you eat. The food generally will only make problems. It's not going to repair it on its own. That you need the herbs. You need these bitter tasting, bad tasting plants that are the medicine. And yes, herbs taste bad. So and different people have different causes. You have to re-identify these causes, and the people themselves are different. As you know, in Ayurveda, we're very individualized. Some people have, are tall and thin, and some people are wide and short. Some people are heavy. Some people are light. Some people are warm. Some people are hot. Some people are dry. Some people are oily. So all that has to be in consideration. The type of the health condition, other health conditions that you don't want to aggravate or make worse, which we see a lot, like people give out herbs and then the guy gets high blood pressure. Acidity or heartburn, because they didn't think of that. And, they give out herbs to solve one problem, and then they make another problem. Well, that's the last thing you want to do as a professional, is make new problems. You'll lose customers really fast. I'm very conservative, very cautious. I don't follow anything online. I don't research anything online. Never would look at Instagram. I don't even click on the link, no matter how enticing it says, because it's not the information about the herb. It's who wrote it. And most of these people writing these articles about 10 herbs good for your blood pressure, 10 herbs good for your blood sugar, 10 herbs good for your cholesterol, they're just like English majors, just Googling on Google, looking for, what they find and repackaging it and then and making a new post. It's basically blind leading the blind, because they're not qualified. They're not practitioners. If somebody's not a practitioner, not seeing patients every day, you can just scratch them off their list. So all these posts you see, those are not practitioners. Because if you're a practitioner, you're not spending your days posting on Facebook. I do have staff posting on Facebook, so I can get around. But as a full-time social media manager, posting all the time. But clinic should have a website, should have appointments, should have credentials, should have some certifications, should have some, 10, 20 years of experience. In India, they say it takes 6 years to be an MD, 20 years to be an herbalist. So you're not going to be an herbalist by taking one course. It takes years and years. And unfortunately, this is why we don't have many herbalists, because everybody wants things quick and fast. Then, of course, the patients, they want things quick and fast. So first, you have to know the patient. You have to know the herbs. You have to know how to make formulas. So it's really better you go find a professional. Now, when I lived in Los Angeles, I used to go see a Chinese herbalist. Even though I was an Ayurvedic herbalist doing appointments, I went downtown LA, went to this Chinese shopping center, went down in the basement, and there was an old man down there who hardly didn't even speak much English. But I did live in Taiwan for a while, so I could, bluff with him, ni hao, ni hao ma, oh, how. So we did a little bit like that. And he was, speaking to me a little bit. But he was giving me the herbs and they were working. So I didn't even know a lot of the herbs. I didn't know him. I can't even remember his name, but he was well known to the Chinese community. And the guy was old. Never take herbs from anybody under 50. Forget it. 20-year-old, forget it. 30-year-old, 40, maybe if he started young. But you need to be old, because you need the time, 20 years to learn, another 20 years to practice. So you're going to be at least 50 years old. No young herbalists, first of all. No single herbs. No Instagram herbalists. No Facebook herbalists. And stop taking mushrooms and coffee. Okay. Now we'll talk about different types of herbs. I am looking at these questions here. We're going to get to them. There's a lot of mistakes people make. You can't treat much with tinctures, first of all. They're extracts. How are you going to get rid of your tumor, get rid of, your constipation, even clean the toxins out of your joints with a couple drops from extracts? They're not going to work very well. I mean, extracts can work for little conditions. You can put them in water. They're very convenient, which is why people do them, but they're not powerful. It's a kind of a modern thing to use extracts that have convenient. I mean, people think I've never seen me use extracts, but I got them. I've made them. I even have a cupboard full of them. And I'll sometimes use them for animals, pets, children, sometimes allergies, light stuff. But, most of my clients, unfortunately, don't have a lot of light problems. I get people coming in, taking 7 or 8 meds, kidney failure, diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol. Tinctures aren't going to help me one little bit. Same goes for essential oils. Very limited use. Again, I got a lot of essential oils. I burn them. I rub them in my hand. I inhale them. I've used them for my horse to calm my horse down. I have them. I use them around, but overhyped, over promoted. And this makes people think the stuff doesn't work. Oh, I tried tinctures. Oh, I tried that. Like ashwagandha, for example. I mean, it's an Ayurvedic herb. It's balancing vata. It's building and strengthening and making muscle. Well, people are taking it in tincture. It doesn't work in tincture. It's a building herb. You need to take a tablespoon. And then people take tablets. Oh, I'm taking ashwagandha. It doesn't work. How much you take? I take 1 tablet every day. Well, no, it's one day. It's a plant. You need to take a tablespoon. And ashwagandha should always be taken with some fat. Fat. What's fat? Oil. Okay, you can use milk. You can use butter. But, you hot milk, butter in the cup with some, ashwagandha. Oh, I don't like butter. Well, it's a building herb. Butter's building. It needs fat to make it work. Tincture's not going to work. It's a zero. It's a nothing. Now, maybe you feel a little bit like, oh, I feel less stress. I feel a little less anxiety because you took an eyedropper of ashwagandha. Okay, so you'll have some limited effects. But that's not how the herb works. You need the whole herb. You got to forget this. Tinctures, essential oils. There's really, you got infusion, decoction. That's from a tea. You either just pour in hot water, infusion, or you do decoction where it's roots and stems and barks. And then you boil it, steam it, set it, simmer it for a little while and strain it. That's a decoction. That's for roots and stems and bark. When it's leaves and flowers, then you just do hot water infusion. And they should sit for a while. And you have to kind of make them strong. Like I have a sleeping tea. People said, does it work? I said, how much did you use? 1 teaspoon. Okay, how about 3 teaspoons? That's a little more. Oh, now it worked. Now I'm sleeping. That's right. With herbs, you got to take more. But the main best way to take herbs is in powder form. And that's the strongest way. You put the powder in hot water, you mix it up, hold your nose, and you shoot it down. It just tastes terrible. Once you throw it in capsules, you're losing a lot of the benefits. People say, why don't you sell your herbs in capsules? Well, we will now put some of our formulas in capsule after over 20 years of practice refusing to do so. But maybe I'm softening up in my old age. I'm 61 now. Maybe I'm getting more soft. I don't know. I hope not. I try to stick to the books, try to be not, influence and waver and remain as traditionally as I can. And Ayurveda doesn't use capsules. So we have tablets where we kind of get the herb ball and roll in a ball, particularly when they're resins like, frankincense, gugulu, lakshadi, gugulu. These are all resins. They'll often be rolled in a ball. And some very, very potent herbs are put in little capsules so you don't, tabs, not capsules, so you don't take too much. So they do use vati or tabs in Ayurveda, but the majority of the herbs are in powder because ingesting the whole powder, taking the whole powder, not an extract, not an infusion, not a decoction like a tea, the whole herb. Even teas, you can't treat much with teas. If you go to a herbalist, oh, he's got his teas, he's really not going to make it very far because the tea, for example, you could take senna, peppermint, and carsata, some carsata sagrada and a little carminative herbs, and you could have a nice little laxant. But this is not going to have it's going to make you go, but it's not going to have the intestinal villi cleaning powder of just taking the powder and taking it. And particularly when you talk about pain and arthritis and joint pain, it should generally all be these powders, weight loss, tumors, cysts, fibroids. You need the whole plant, ground up in a formula and mixed it. So this is, and you can't be taking digestive herbs in capsule. You need to taste these herbs, even that bitterness. People have diabetes, all the herbs are super bitter and they want them in capsule. I said, no. That bitterness is suppressing your appetite. The bitterness is hitting the sweet taste buds on your tongue and making you not want to have more sweets. It's sending messages to your brain, that bitter taste. And when you just take a capsule, you're missing that whole thing. A lot of these digestive substances used for acid reflux, heartburn, even gas, bloating, even excessive appetite, they all shouldn't be in capsule. Either a decoction tea, sipping it lightly, or in powder, where you're just taking it because it needs to go right down there, absorb into the stomach acid. You don't want a little capsule that needs to be absorbed first and broken down and moved right past your stomach into the duodenum, and then it didn't even go to the right place. So, you have to, people say, oh, your herbs taste they work very good. My pain's much better, but they taste bad. Well, that's it. That's how they work. It's medicine. It's not a cookie. And okay, a few more things, and then we're going to jump to some of these questions. I got to, cover. I had a few thoughts in my head here. Another thing is people don't take enough. They think if you give them anything in capsule or pill, they take one. Why'd you take one? It said in the label, it said take 2 teaspoons. You took 1 capsule. You would have to take 6 of those capsules to equal 2 teaspoons. Oh, I didn't know I could take so much. I was afraid. Well, you're taking all these pills from the doctor. You're taking 5, 6 pills. You don't even know what's in them, and you're popping them down every day for 10 years. And now you're afraid of taking a plant? Come on. The herbs, you need to take more. If it's not working, you take more. Every day people say, oh, it's not working. Take more. Make it stronger. Oh, now it's working. So with herbs, and I had like 2 cases today. I hope those people, I told them both to register for this webinar. I hope you're there. You know who I'm talking about. We can't say any names, but I both told them, look, you need to take more. I had one woman today. I hadn't seen her for over a year. And I gave her some pain herbs for her arthritis. And again, we have different herbs for different type of arthritis. There's inflammatory arthritis. There's degenerative arthritis. There's swelling arthritis. There's all types of arthritis in Ayurveda. The doctor has it easy. He just gives you pain meds. So I gave her the right one for her arthritis almost a year and a half ago. Now, I didn't have any feedback. So I said, when you took that herb, what happened to your pain? Did you finish the jar? She did finish the jar, I heard. How much better did your pain get? She goes, oh, yeah, I got better. I go, how much? We're talking 10%, 20%, 30%, 50%. She said, like, I don't know, 20, 25%. So I said, okay, let's make it 25%. You took 1 jar, cost you $25, and you got 25% better. She goes, yeah. So I said, why didn't you get, that means you need to take 3 or 4 more jars and you'll have no more pain. She goes, oh, really? I thought that was it. It got 25% better, and I'm not taking my pain meds, so I just stopped. Oh, no, you keep going. Finish the job, finish the treatment. You don't take herbs forever. No, if they did, I'd be a multi-billionaire. There'd be a big building on it that says Khabir's Herbalism. I'd be like, I'd be pushing Pfizer out. That's how they have such a nice big building, is because, of course, they sell you the med forever. You got to take it forever, your whole life. Your blood sugar medicine, your diabetes medicine is forever. They don't even care if you remove the cause to stop the problem. Just keep taking the pill. And if it gets worse, just increase the dose. But of course, you have all the side effects and all that, kidney damage and kidney failure and liver damage, liver failure, and all these other lower immunity, all these other side effects that show up, and even impotence and ED and all kinds of problems from the meds. But now you can take the wrong herb and have a side effect. But if an herbalist is giving it to you, you're not going to have a side effect that's going to be harmful. In fact, I don't have high prostate, but I still drink prostate tea every once in a while because, I know it's good for me. I don't have a respiratory problem, but, I'll take some respiratory herbs in the springtime. I don't really get constipated very much, but, when I'm traveling, I'll take my herbs for constipation. I sleep pretty good most of the time because I just work right up to the last minute and I kind of pass out. But sometimes I'll still take my sleeping herbs if I have to get up early and catch a plane at 4 a.m. So even if somebody doesn't have any major health problems, I can still take herbs every day. I take my super tube. I take a superfood for pitta. I take, some eye herbs, even though my eyesight's still pretty good. I'm having some night issues, and I do have a night formula, and my own clients told me it helped with night vision, so I started taking it. And, because the clients gave me good feedback. So, you can still be taking herbs even if you don't have a health problem. In fact, that's where you want to be, in that case. No big health problem, but taking herbs to snuff out these problems in the early stages. Everybody waits too long. Again, here's another main point. Take notes. Wake up, people. Don't wait too long to treat your health conditions. Here's what most people do. Blood pressure is going up. They ignore it for a little while. Then I feel some chest pain. Oh, maybe a little stroke. Or they got a little gallbladder pain. They wait until they got the pain. Or, they got little urination problems. They're peeing at night. They don't think much about it. And then, one day they run off to the ER, or they get a little diarrhea. And then they run to the ER because it's painful. And they found out they have ulcerative colitis, gallstones, blocked arteries, or kidney stones. And then, they do testing, which is basically the same as bill your insurance. They want to bill your insurance, so they're going to do a lot of testing. And then you find out, well, they don't really have anything. They just want to remove your gallbladder. They just want to do surgery into kidney stones. All right, let's do his full hysterectomy and take out all of our reproductive organs. Nobody's talking about natural treatments. And then they may have a pill like ulcerative colitis, remdesivir or something that has so many side effects. Even the average medical doctors don't want to take some of these meds and end up coming to me because they don't want to take the meds because it has such a bad reputation. But that's all they got. And then they'll mess around with the meds, sometimes even take the meds for a while, try this, try that. Now, meanwhile, time's passing. Now we're into this health problem a couple of years. Then, they'll go on. Then the next stage is now they're on the meds. They're trying to figure out how to get off the meds. So where do they go? Instagram, Google, Facebook. Oh, yeah, let's just go for it. Let's just, our major life-threatening health condition, let's go find the answer on Instagram. Oh, yeah. Oh, sure. Oh, here's a nice guy. He looks cute. Oh, she's got some cleavage. Let's buy her herbs and try. That's what people are doing. You don't know who they are, what they're saying, nothing. And then they start trying stuff. They start having other problems. We've got all these fad diets, which just drive me crazy. Paleo diet, fad, vegan diet, fad, all this. Now they got a pagan diet, which, believe it or not, is the paleo diet plus vegan diet combined. I've had 2 or 3 clients say they really had upsets from that. The raw diet is with all that raw kale is giving a lot of people, even ulcerative colitis, IBS, because of all this raw food. And so, it's not that these diets don't have value. It's just that, when people say everybody should do it, that's their big mistake. Maybe for the guy who's advocating it, it worked great for him. Maybe he was a big, giant, obese guy, 300 pounds, and he went raw for a year, and now he's thin. So now he's thinking everybody should do it. But if you're a thin, underweight person, you start with gas, bloating, and constipation, and you start doing this raw food diet, it's just going to tear you up and deplete you to death. So, that's why they're all fats. Sometimes they have value. Sometimes they're just really stupid diets, crazy diets, all this meat and fat. You don't know where they get this from. And then there's this no fruit thing now because I think all fruit is sugar. So people are leaving out fruit. Now, people already been leaving out grains. All grains are bad. All grains are bad. No, not all grains are bad. I had one client today. She was doing that. And, when they leave out the grains, then they get short on the B vitamins. And then they start having memory problems, forgetfulness problems, even anxiety and stress for the first time in their life because they left out all these grains. And then, of course, once they start eating them again, they overeat them. So these are really radical diets, leaving out whole food groups, no fruit, no cooked vegetables, no grains. These are all crazy diets, very, and many harmful. People create a lot of problems. So that's the second stage that you go through. First, you ignore it for a while until it gets serious. Then you go to the hospital and you try the med, or, you're considering surgery, or sometimes you even do the surgery and you still got the problem. Or I've seen people that get a knee replacement and 2 years later, now they got the same problem in the other knee because they didn't do anything. Still, the inflammation's there. Now they're scared to do the second knee surgery because the first one's still killing them. And then they go online. So the second stage is, you go online, you try all these fad diets, fad cures, buy all these cure-all books and try, you do your turmeric, you do your manuka honey, and now you do your mushrooms. You try all this stuff. That's another couple years you've wasted. So now you're into this health condition 4 or 5 years. And you're probably still on the med. Plus, you've done a lot of crazy diets and you've got a big old list of expensive supplements, and you still got the health problem. Plus, maybe some new health problems. And meanwhile, that condition pathology has never really stopped because you never really understood the pathology. You were looking for a quick cure. You weren't trying to understand the pathology, the causes. A lot of people have been messing around online for years and still doing the cause every day because they don't know that chocolate is inflammatory. You can't have chocolate if you got joint pain. Everybody thinks, oh, it's got magnesium, must be good. Well, here's my little analogy on that is you can't pick any herb or any food based just on one or two nutritional qualities. You can't just eat chocolate because it has magnesium. That's how they promoted it. That's how that David guy, avocado guy, he promoted it. He was a salesman. He told everybody it had magnesium. Then everybody bought it. Oh, great. I can have all the chocolate I want. It's got magnesium. Well, I say that's like basically saying, hey, I want to marry this guy because he's got a lot of testosterone. I mean, every woman probably likes a man with a little testosterone. I mean, but I mean, it's a part of him being a man. But there's more to the man than just his testosterone levels. You can't just pick him just because he's got high testosterone levels. I mean, there's other factors. Same with food. You just can't eat bananas because it's got potassium. They're weight gaining, fatty fruit. You can't just eat chocolate because it's got magnesium. It's stimulating, increases your blood pressure, increases your anxiety. It's stimulating, makes you overthink. Aphrodisiac as well, which kind of a plus there, but you have to know what you're doing. But this cacao bean, it's inflammatory. It's going to make the joint pain worse. And people don't know it. And then you tell them stop it. And they go, I think it helped. Well, as soon as I had the chocolate, next day I suffered. As soon as I had the tomato sauce, next day I suffered. People, and the information on the internet is almost backwards. It's like the opposite now. Oh, to lose weight, just eat meat. Well, what would you do to eat meat to lose weight? Meat's the most building food we can. We can give it to growing children. We can give it to skinny little thin people, underweight people, fine. Animal protein, but not when you're overweight and obese. You can't be eating a lot of animal protein. And then people get these fixed things in their head. All dairy's bad, all meat's bad. No, everything can be used as medicine if you know what you're doing. Let's give the example of coffee. Of course, a lot of practitioners say coffee's bad. Now, for every insomniac, coffee's bad. If I had $1 for every insomniac who was having 1 cup of coffee, I'd have a lot more money because they're all drinking 1 cup of coffee. And they think that's fine, but it's all cumulative. Just like the herbs accumulate, the coffee also accumulates. So they're trying to sleep at night and they still got coffee in their bloodstream bumping around from the cup they had even 2 days ago. So they're not even removing the main cause of their anxiety, their heart palpitation. So a lot of counterindications to coffee. But if you're overweight, heavy, slow, sluggish with a low pulse and feel pretty lazy, particularly with a low thyroid, and you're definitely 50 pounds overweight and you're kapha, heavy, slow person, slow pulse, I give you coffee for breakfast. That's right. Just say no creamer, no sugar, just put honey in your coffee and have that in the morning. And usually the clients say, well, what else should I have with breakfast? What do you mean, what else? You're overweight by 70 pounds. Coffee is your breakfast. Just drink the coffee and get going. And they go, oh, that's fine. But everybody told me I should have breakfast. No, you don't need breakfast. You need to be moving first before you build up an appetite. You can't eat when you're not hungry. That's just going to gain more weight. You got to wait until the appetite's there, So people are doing crazy stuff. They're snacking all day thinking they're going to lose weight. How could you lose weight or lower your blood sugar if you keep eating all day? And now you've got this new fad. I'm almost done ranting here about this intermediate fasting. Well, I studied professionally for more than 20 years in India, and fasting is a big part. We fast overweight people. We fast obese people. Particularly have the low appetite and low stomach acids. If you have high stomach acids, you have to be very careful fasting a person, even if they're overweight. And you never fast a thin, little, skinny, nervous person because they're just going to become more nervous and more anxious and more ungrounded, particularly if there's like a mental instability, like, we could call bipolar or ADHD. If you fast them, it all gets worse. They need to be eaten. They need to be grounded. They need to be stable. You need food for that. And a lot of animal protein for those unstable minds. So there's a place for animal protein. There's a place for dairy. It's not all bad. Now, maybe we as humans have made it bad, homogenized the dairy, pasteurized the dairy. We've messed it all up. But that doesn't make what the cow's putting out is bad. Now, not good for somebody. But for example, if you have a lot of mucus, a lot of congestion, you're overweight, you're heavy, you can't be having high cholesterol, you can't be drinking milk all day. But if you have heartburn, you're thin, you're not having much animal protein, then milk can be a second source of nutrients, vitamin D, and keep that heartburn under control. And even it's very cooling. Milk is very cooling in the summer. So these are the things that you have to consider when you're looking at herbs. You have to look at how much you're taking. And generally, once something's working, if you're my patient, take more, not less. Don't stop it. And if a herbal formula helps you with your pain 20%, then just keep going until it's 100% gone. If it's just like your hair growing back, if you're taking herbs and you start noticing the hair's coming back, well, keep going. Don't stop. But people stop. They come back a year later, and the condition comes back. So the other advice I have is, of course, don't put off treatment. The real best is if you had a little symptom. Oh, I'm getting this little heartburn, little burning here, and you come to me straight away. Don't let it get worse until you damage your esophagus and you can't swallow. And then you run off to the doctor and they're going to do, endoscopy, colonoscopy. They want to get cameras and pictures of everything so they can bill your insurance company. So then they're going to say, oh, here, take some Tums. But if you would have, and then you find out, then you go research all the adverse side effects of Tums, and then you look for alternatives, and you go to Facebook, and you go to YouTube, and then eventually you come to me. Now, if I would have just caught you in the very beginning, if you would have been my patient and I was checking on you every few months, or you were a new patient, I would have said, okay, don't have sour foods, don't have so much fermented foods, don't drink all this kimchi and sauerkraut. This is creating more stomach acids. And don't have the chili pepper. This is destroying the mucosa in your stomach lining and contributing to your acidity. And you could have just made these little dietary changes and you'd have been fine. Maybe no herbs necessary because you were creating it. You just didn't know. Like alcohol. Some people that are drinking alcohol, this creates stomach acids because it wipes away the stomach mucosa in the stomach lining. So even the guy's got to drink. I said, okay, at least have some cheese first to coat your stomach lining. Okay, fine. Now he's having cheese before he drinks. Now he doesn't get the heartburn because you may think it's a little heartburn, but a lot, 20 years of this, and then you can get, throat cancer. Same with constipation. Oh, I had a client. She was only having one bowel movement a day. I tried to talk her into taking some colon herbs. Even I think I sent her the colon herbs. She didn't take them because she thought one time a day is good. Month later, she calls me. I'm in the hospital. I go, what happened? She goes, well, I had some abdominal pain, so I went to the hospital. And they said I was so blocked up. I had 2 weeks of fecal matter built up in my colon, and they gave her some big purge. They didn't think it was enough. They gave her a second purge, and then they put her on an IV for 3 days, all for constipation. And then I asked, I was kind of being polite. We were texting while she's in the hospital. Oh, okay, excuse me. Did you take that colon herb I gave you a month ago? Oh, no, I didn't take it. Ouch. Ouch. So a lot of people, they just don't understand. They think skipping one day, no big deal. I'm going every other day. Okay, I'm going once a day. That was like this woman. She was going once a day, but hey, she's, been doing it for 40, 50 years. So then you get diverticuli, you get diverticulitis, you get appendicitis, and you can even, if it gets dry and hard, you can get hemorrhoids, irritable bowel, and also ultimately ulcerative colitis just from your constipation. So that's another problem. People don't really know what healthy is. They think peeing at night is normal if you're elderly. No, I got tons of testimonials, people, mostly women, thanking me for not urinating at night because they thought it was normal. No, it's not normal for an old person to urinate at night. My mother, who's 87 years old, who's actually watching here more than likely, she's not urinating at night. She doesn't have joint pain. I got clients in their 90s. They don't have joint pain. They don't have arthritis. They're not urinating at night. It's nothing to do with age. And I got young people in their 30s that are urinating at night 4 or 5 times. So, it's a health problem. The first step is to realize you got a problem here. If there's smoke coming out of the back of your car, don't keep driving it. Take it to the mechanic. If you hear a stinky smell coming out of the front engine, don't just keep driving it. I mean, you could create further damage. But unfortunately, that's what everybody does. Is they keep driving the car even when there's got these symptoms and they're creating more damage. It's just to clarify here, what people say, well, how do you treat all these health conditions? How do you treat the diabetes? Well, we're not treating these medical conditions. We don't treat diabetes. We treat your pancreas. My herbs don't say for diabetes. They say for pancreas. I'm treating your pancreas, the absorption of insulin. I'm managing your blood sugar. I'm helping your liver. I'm not treating cholesterol. I'm treating your liver. It's all organs and systems. All it is organs and systems. The medical names just confuse you. If you got irritable bowel or ulcerative colitis, I'm treating inflammation in your colon. You can call it whatever you want. I've treated many conditions I can't pronounce, I've never heard of, but I know, this is inflammation in the uterus. This is inflammation in the esophagus. This is inflammation in the brain, or there's a tumor in the brain. I know that. I don't need to know the name of it. I just need to know what's happening in the body from a physical point of view. What system isn't working and what is the imbalance or issue with that system? For example, is a Is it blocked? Is it inflamed? Is it depleted? Those would say the big categories. You can have depleted muscles. You can have inflamed muscles. You can have blocked arteries. You can have inflamed arteries. See what I mean? And you can have mental problems that also can be overstimulated. You could have a poor circulation up to the brain. You could have toxins getting up to the brain. Of course, toxins are everywhere in our modern industrialized society, where we're eating toxins, breathing toxins every single day. And these get in our body, and our body is eliminating these toxins as fast as they can through the elimination channels, the urinary channel, the sweat channel. Even every time you exhale, you're getting rid of toxins. But if you get in a too toxic of environment, you're eating junk food, living in a polluted city, drinking polluted water, your body can't keep up. These toxins accumulate, and they're one major cause of a lot of health problems. Most of your joint pain is coming from toxins, which can come from constipation. You can make yourself toxic just by not going to the toilet enough, and you get a kind of auto toxicity. So people say, how'd you get rid of my joint pain in 6 months? Just taking a bunch of herbs. The herbs were cleaning the toxins out of your joints, which was the cause. Not a pain med. Okay. So I hope that helped you, to understand that there are herbal treatments for all all health conditions. Even if I don't list it on my website, there are health. There are the herbal formulas already made. I mean, there's really nothing new. I mean, we could say AIDS is a new condition that didn't exist in ancient times, but now Ayurvedic herbalists, they know, how to treat that. But and then there's many medicine-induced problems. Like, for example, I can have people with headaches, and then they're taking 6-7 meds, and I go Google them all on drugs.com, and I see 3 of them mention headaches as a side effect. So I said, well, I'm not going to give you my headache tea. It may not work. You're taking 3 medications whose most common side effect is headaches. So this is a modern problem we have. Higher toxicity than they did at ancient times. A lot of meds creating more toxicity, more liver, more kidney damage, and other side effects that, nobody knows. Even the medical doctors don't know how many of your conditions are created from the side effects of meds, particularly if you're taking 3 or 4 of them or 10. So this makes things more complicated. But generally, we have to work step at a time, slowly improving the health, getting them off of one medication at a time as we treat the blood pressure. And it comes down, the doctor can take them off the meds. As the cholesterol gets better, we can take them off the cholesterol. As the pain's gone, they can stop their pain meds, et cetera, et cetera. And then you'll see mental state improves, sleep improves. There's a lot of, and that's another big point in treating anybody for anything. You have to remember the basics. It doesn't matter if you have cancer. I'm not just going to give you a formula. Oh, here, take this for your cancer. I have to see you. I have to know you. I have to diagnose you. And I have to have the fundamentals in order. You have to have good digestion. You have to have foods that aren't making it worse. And you got to stop the microwave and the junk food and things we know are carcinogenic. And then we got to make sure elimination is good, not too loose like diarrhea or loose. That's a big problem. Or not too constipated. Got to get that just right. Digestion needs to be just right. No symptoms. And you got to have good sleep. How are you going to recover from something like cancer where it has a lot to do with your affected immune system and you're not even sleeping? And we know good sleep is helpful for recovery of many conditions all through time. When you have sickness, or they told you to rest, not work and stress. So, if you're not sleeping good because you're peeing all night, I have to treat the urination at night just so you can sleep. And I need you to sleep so you can recover from this condition that you have. So it's always more complex. And, here, take this herb. There's no such thing. It's going to be a formula, not an herb. And there's going to be supporting formulas and supporting herbs that may help it work even better, particularly if that's the main issue. I may give you I may give you a heart tea plus a heart formula, maybe even heart tabs if it's really bad, to get this blood pressure under control. And then I'm going to take care of the other issues as well: the elimination, the sleep, the digestion, anxiety. All these need to all be managed. It has to be homeostasis. The whole body has to be working together as like a machine, nice and smooth without problems. So this whole idea, tell me what I take for my blood pressure, forget it. Don't ask me. It's just not that simple. If it's that simple, I just go post it on Facebook like the other bozos who are posting all over Facebook. Now, I'm not saying that formula that somebody posts on Facebook didn't work for him. The flaw is he thinks it's going to work for everybody. You even see people on Facebook. Oh, I treated myself for autoimmune conditions. Here's how I do it. Sign up and pay him money. Oh, yeah. This one guy treated one person himself, and now he thinks he's a professional. Forget it. You need somebody with experience, has treated a lot of people. If you want to go to the top of the mountain, a guide has to have been up and down the mountain a few times, not once, or read a book on how to get to the mountain, or even, heard from somebody else how to get to the mountain. No, you want somebody who's been to the mountain and back, been to the top of the mountain and back, and taken other people there. That's experience. There's nothing better than experience. There's many great Ayurvedic doctors in India whose father was an Ayurvedic doctor. There's no degrees, no certificates. They're called Vaidyas. And in Vaidya, he is the best because he was raised in a family. His father taught him, and he has all this experience watching his father, working with his father, apprenticing with his father. So he can do it well. I hope this answers your questions. I hope you understand the power of herbs, and they can treat everything. And don't wait too long, and forget trying to treat yourself unless you're just trying to treat a little cold or some pimple or something. Okay, go for it. Learn on yourself. But don't try to treat your grandma whose life's threatened by Facebook. And don't try to treat yourself for a serious heart condition or a chronic life-threatening health condition by going on Facebook groups. You have to get some professional help here. And whoever's doing it has to have experience over 50. You have a lot of experience, has testimonials, has a website, has a clinic, have a location. Okay. Now I do most of my appointments now on Zoom. My clients are all over the world. But it's really better to meet the practitioner in person. It's harder for me. And I'm like handicapped. I still do well because I have a lot of experience. And I do a big questionnaire and stuff like that, 10-page questionnaire. So I have a lot of information. I ain't just messing around hearing your health problem. I need to hear everything, every supplement you're taking, everything you're eating, all your other health problems. I need all that information. So that's why you get a 10-page questionnaire with me. And I still spend most of my appointment diagnosing. Once I got the diagnosis down, the treatment's easy. So you just can't jump to the treatment without the diagnosis. Okay, stop following these fads. Get off that mushroom coffee. Okay, I wish you all the best. I'll stay here and answer some of your questions afterwards. Okay, thank you very much. Please feel free to contact me if you need assistance with your health. And I wish you all the best of health. And it's my passion. I speak with my passion and from my heart to try to motivate you to, look for these natural treatments from an experienced person and realize there are treatments for every health condition. But most good herbalists, they keep a low profile. They're not on Instagram because they have the clients. They have the reputation. That's the only way you should really be getting clients is from your reputation, your knowledge, your wisdom. So I do hope some of you have more faith in herbalism, better understanding of herbalism. And if you're my client, you're already taking my herbs, don't take more. If it's not working, take more. Don't stop. If I gave it to you, I expect you to finish the herbs, not call me back a year later and you didn't even, only took half of it. All right. Once again, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for this time. I'll stay and answer some of your questions. Those people have been texting me. God bless you all.